Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the Life of Virtual Airline Pilot. And as you can see, in case you were wondering, the votes are in, and well, overwhelmingly we voted for the NGX again, which is fantastic. I have no problem with that. I really love flying this airplane. To be honest, I was actually a little surprised. I thought some folks would want to see a little bit more of that FS Labs Airbus, but not right now, it seems. I was actually going back and taking a look at my analytics and all that good stuff for the channel, and it seems that the videos where we fly this NGX, they absolutely get the most views, the longest view time, the whole shebang. So you guys really like this airplane. So I'm going to continue to put it up there as an option for flights wherever we're going, and even when we cross the pond and get over into Europe and stuff like that, we're going to continue to have options for the 737 NGX here. And then of course, as we rank up, which will happen eventually, we'll get options for the Quality Wing 757. Does anybody know when they're releasing that 787? I'm so excited about that one. And then isn't somebody working on a proper A350? Because that's a cool looking plane too. So I'm really looking forward to both of those coming out. But in the meantime, it looks like we're going to have the 757 once we get rank up, and then of course we'll have to rank up again before we can fly the 777 and stuff like that. So it takes some time, but eventually we'll get there. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I think that's really the gist of it. I really kind of just want to jump right in here. We are flying the Captain Mac repaint, and for the life of me, I don't know why, and I truly apologize for this. This does happen to me sometimes. The name of the individual who did this repaint slips my mind right now, but it's popping up down here, and I know it's the proper name because I made this little text pop up so that everybody would know, because I promised that every time I fly this this repaint that he will get the credit for it. So my most sincere apologies for not being able, for whatever reason, I can't bring your name to tongue right now. It's been driving me insane for like the last 30 minutes. I'm like, why can't I remember his name? It's actually breaking my heart because you did such a beautiful job on this repaint, and I want to revisit that really quick. You guys, look at this beautiful repaint that he did. It's just absolutely astounding. It's such a beautifully done repaint, and I really love it, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm still looking, hoping some of you will offer some other repaints for the other, come on brain function, the other models of the 737. So I've got the 600, 700, and the 900. This one's the 800 that I would love to have the repaint for all of those, a different repaint. So the idea, of course, being that at some point here we can flip on the service-based failures function on this, and I'd like to be able to do it. I think the PMDG 777 has it, and so on. I'd really like to be able to turn those on. And just a little teaser here, I know a little secret where yeah, having those service-based failures might become something that's really worth your time. So just something to think about, chew on that for a little while. There's probably a few of you watching this who are saying, I know exactly what he's talking about. But in the meantime, here we go. What do you say we jump on in the aircraft? I do want to note real quick that my GSX is not acting right. I don't know what's wrong with it. I need to do the update for the add-on manager, I think. And I'm just retarded today and can't remember how to do it. So I'm just not messing with it right now. So we'll be doing a manual pushback when the time comes. But in the meantime, let's hop onto the flight deck here. And we need to pop up this guy. Where you at? There we go. That's our FS2Crew. Let me mute it here. Undock that because we're going to need that in a second. So you see it jumps right to the pre-flight checklist. But that's not actually where we want to be yet. We need this window here. Undock. And let's start our excuse me, pre-flight events here, and that should change this actually.
Okay, let's get this show on the road. Okay,
there we go. So pre-flight events, it's not a lot of time, it's 25 minutes, but there's a lot going on when these are happening. So it didn't take long to get your first cough in, did it? I don't know what it is, but I don't actually cough that much except when I'm making these videos. It's ridiculous. Okay, so pre-flight events have started. Jetway would connect if available. I actually already had it connected, so we're good to go on that. At 24 minutes, which will be shortly here, since we're cold and dark, You can see he's already going into the electric power-up procedure. I don't need to tell him anything. The first officer is going to do that for us, which is fantastic. And so the electric, that's him doing his thing. The electrical power-up supplementary procedure, the tutorial, this is the tutorial I'm reading from, assumes that the first officer is going to do it, and unless I change it in the options menu, which I didn't. I like it that way. So he's taking care of that right now, but that doesn't mean there's nothing for us to do. We're going to go ahead. Let me get these out of the way. I need to shrink a window down here. I need to move this over here and this over here. So these are just out of our way, right? Because we don't want to be staring at those the whole time. And this drives me nuts. I hate blue screens. I know it's probably a weird thing, but I just don't like blue screens. So turn those down real quick and let's take a look at what we need to do. We need to hop all the way up top here first. We need to make sure that the IRS is off. That's these two guys right here. Wait 30 seconds and then turn them on. And so what we're going to do is we're going to turn them both to nav. And then when it says align, actually we leave them there. Duh. Yeah, we can just leave them there. So we leave them on nav and they'll align in the nav position. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember somebody corrected me already. I was going back to align, but you don't actually have to do that. Flight recorder test. It's this guy right here. Pop that up. Flip it to test. He should be starting the APU. He is. I don't know what's taking him so long. I mean, it's up and running. That warning is telling me that the battery's running low. I'm not waiting for him. I don't know why he didn't finish that up. It's possible that I threw him out of whack a little bit by doing my thing. But anyway, let's move on because he's going to be going out to do his walk around here shortly. So flight recorder test, we flip that guy over. I mean, that's all you do for test. And then when you
the walk around.
Okay, he's off for the walk around. Now I believe we can just leave those there on nav. And then, you know what, real quick, let's hop down here. And let's go to the FMC. Clear. Come on, clear. Position initialization, put in the IRS position. If you haven't, if you're not keeping up with how I'm doing this, I've given tutorial on this plenty of times, so go back, take a look at those. You'll get caught up in no time, I promise. Okay, so that's taken care of. Flight recorder test is done. Voice recorder switch needs to be normal. Where's voice recorder? I think it's the next one down here. That's cockpit video. Cockpit voice recorder. I don't know what you do to put it on normal. I don't think you actually do anything. I mean, you can hold it to test it. So green light comes on, we're good to go there. I don't think there's anything else to do. Service interphone switch needs to be off though. That's back up here. That's this one. Up is off, down is on, right? So we want it off. Engine panel set. I think somebody said something about this in a comment, what you actually do to set the engine panel, but I'm not sure. Are we talking about the engine panel on here? If it's this guy, this is hydraulics though, that's not really engine panel, right? So I'm not really sure on that one. I mean, are they talking about down here? Is this supposed to be set? That's not really a panel though. Yeah, so I don't really know what they mean by engine panel. So there you have it. Mach overspeed test. That's this guy, 1 and 2. And then the stall warning. And if you haven't had power on the aircraft, I think it's, what does it say on here? 4 minutes, this won't do anything. Yeah, see, so those won't work. And I always forget to come back and do them, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to try to remember to come back and do them. Set the parking brake if it's not already done. Even though we've got the chocks on, let's turn the parking brake off so when we remove the chocks, we don't have to worry about that, right? And then copy the ATIS, which I've already got it. It's the wind's 250 at 250 degrees at 4 knots, and the altimeter is actually 299 or 2, which is interesting because it's like never 299 or 2, right? So he's doing the walk around right now. Flight attendant's going to ask us here in a couple minutes if she can start the boarding. We'll let her know. Couple of notes. I never really talk much about FS2Crew, but you see HM, that's for hard mute. I've linked that to a key, just the M key, because that makes sense for me. Mute, right? Mute on, mute off. So I press the M key and that'll unmute it. So at 19 minutes when we hear her come in, we'll tell her, yeah, go ahead, or okay, or, you know, there's 3 different things you can say to her to get her to start boarding. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for her and continue recording, and then once we get that started, we'll move on to the next step.
Hi, the security and safety check are complete. Can we start boarding now?
Yes, please.
Thanks.
Okay, so she's going to start the boarding now. FO will be back here in just a minute, and he'll go into his pre-flight and CDU pre-flight, and I need to start my pre-flight. So for us, we want to start with the master lights test and dim switch, and that's this guy right here. So when I left click it, that's the dim, and you see these lights dim down a little bit, right? So if you look, this is the best place to look right now. Look at these guys right here. Watch, they get a little dimmer. There we go, dim switch works. And then right click it back to normal, and then right click for test, and you can see all the lights come on. The entire aircraft, all the warning lights and indicator lights and everything on the aircraft comes on. Right, and so that's our test for that guy right there. So turn that back off. Let's see, we want to make sure that our pressure is set, which is 29902, so we're good on that. We can set the minimums and all that right now, but we're not going to do it because we're just going to change it.
I'm back from the walk around.
We're just going to change it when we get there anyway. So he's going to start doing his thing. We're going to continue with ours. We need to set the mode control panel. So we don't really have any altitude restrictions, just a minimum altitude. So what we're going to do is take this. We're actually ultimately going up to 39,000 feet, even though our flight plan says our initial altitude is 7,000 feet. I have no idea why. So let's take this up to 39. And flight director on, both sides. Auto throttle can be armed. LNAV and VNAV, it's not going to do anything because we haven't done the FMC yet. Let's test the oxygen and set that. So this guy right here, tested, and then if I remember correctly, where is it? There we go. I think that's how you turn it on. I really don't know. Flight and standby instruments check. Not really sure what they want us to do with that. I mean, here's our flight instruments. Here's our standby. This guy, this ISFD, is our standby. So I think we're good on that right now. Right? There's nothing else to do with it. Set nav radios. We're not going to be doing anything with those. Audio control panel. We don't need to do anything with that. Trims check free and set to 0. So that's just making sure these are free. We're not going to set them to 0 because we're just going to move them here in a little bit anyway. And then we verify the flight plan. And so let's just take a quick look at our flight plan here. I don't always do this, but we'll do it today. So you can see there's our initial altitude. It says flight level 070, which is funny because transition altitude being at 18,000, 070 or 7,000 is not a flight level. Fuel. Let's take a look at fuel here. We need 13,266 pounds of fuel. So let's take care of that because I haven't actually done that yet. So we'll pop this guy up here. I don't know why they're faded out like that. Something I did. But go to menu and FS actions and fuel, and then what we want to do is we're going to put it in for the total fuel. Right now you can see it's got 45,000 pounds. That's way more than we need. So 13,266, and this is assuming some time on the ground, right? So we should be good to go there. Although for us we always take a little longer. So let's make it 13,500 because we take a little longer on the ground, right? So that changed our fuel overall. You might have seen the airplane shift just a little bit. And then we can go menu again back to FMC. And let's go ahead and start doing our FMC initialization because we haven't done this yet, right? So let's start with our route here. I've saved it in there. It's a company route. You can click on this and you can search for it, or we can just type it in there. So for us it's KCLT to KMIA. And as of course it's 01. That's our designator, right? Invalid. I'll bet it shows it is KCLT, KMIA. I'll bet it doesn't have the 01 this time. Why is that not working? That's weird. Okay, we'll just do it the other way then. Let's see. Next page. It's in there somewhere. KCLT. Oh, it's 02 for some reason. I wonder why it went 02. I must have saved it twice or something. Okay, well, that's the one we want. Execute that. Flight number is 148, and somebody said you're supposed to put the airline in there. So American Airlines 148. That's our flight today. Activate, execute, and go to performance initialization. 0 fuel weight, it'll do it for us. Click once, click again, and there you go. And that takes care of your gross weight and your center of gravity and all that good stuff. Our reserves today, I think we said we need to be at 2,000, right? I was doing 5,000 before, which is way too much. So we'll go to 2,000, and our cost index, as always, will be 85 because I just like to get there. Cruise altitude, so this I believe is telling us our max, and of course we're going to be at 390, so there's that. Good to go. Execute it and then go to N1 limit. And let's see, I think we're just going to stick with a normal takeoff. We probably don't need it, but I'm going to stick with it anyway. So go to our takeoff page. Flaps are going to be 5. And center of gravity, click it once, click it again, and then it tells us our trim needs to be 4.67. And you can see it's at 4.06, right? So 4.67. Looks like 6.4 is as close as we're going to get. So that's what we're going to go with. And now we'll take care of our departure. So we're scheduled for the Hug 3 departure, but what we're actually taking is, what's it called? The Lils 9. And we're going to be taking runway 23. And that's going to be our departure. So execute that. Back over to the route page. Back to the takeoff page so that we can get our VREFs, 131, 133, and 144. And that pretty much takes care of initializing our FMC. So if we go over to our legs page, you can see it puts us on vectors pretty quick. And then we're not actually going to do Lambda and Lils, just so you know. What we're going to do is we're going to go, I believe it was this one, right? Let me look at something over here. You go down, and you zoom out. I'm looking for something here. Yep, A worked. So what I'm actually looking at, I'm going to show you here in a second. So we're going to go direct to AWORT, right? Or AWORT, or however you say it. So click on the line select key next to it. It puts it in the scratch pad. And then go back here right below vectors and just put it in there. And then it goes vectors and then AWORT, and we're good to go. So we'll execute that, and that changes up our departure, right? And you can see here 1,260 feet. You're going to see that when we do the departure briefing as well. So we're going to go on that. All set up on here. We could put our arrival in. If we go departure arrival, we know that our arrival is going to be the Annie 3, and we're transitioning at TRV. And I know this because I already did the arrival briefing. So you'll see that in a little bit, but we don't know the runway yet. So execute that and go back to the legs page. Scroll down a little bit, and everything connects. No discontinuity, so we're good to go. So I'd say we're set on there. Let's see. First officer is ready for the pre-flight checklist, it looks like. And it says to wait till 11 minutes or later. We're at 12 minutes right now. Show you that right here. Oop, there's the 12 minutes. So here in just a second we can do that. So just for a minute while we're waiting on that, let's take a look at this guy. Bam! No, what'd you do? Oh, because it's always on top. There we go. Flight Sim Commander. That's what we're going to be using. I'm going to be using this from now on. I went ahead and purchased it. I like it. It's not hard to use. So at some point, if somebody wants, we can do a tutorial or something on it. But I'm still learning it anyway, so now's probably not the time. Let's go ahead and let's take care of that pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist, please.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Navigation transfer and display switches. Normal, auto. Window heat, on. Pressurization mode selector, auto. Flight instruments.
Set and checked.
Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Pre-flight checklist complete.
Alright, so the pre-flight checklist is complete. Let's see. Let's take care of, so we need to take care of departure brief, because in a couple minutes that's going to be what's next. So click on departure here, and here's your departure brief. So we're at a gate. We will push back. Thrust is rated. Rated works. Takeoff flaps will be 5. No E-tops. Bleeds will be on. No anti-ice required. It's a crew change. Force return. We should be underweight, so we're good on that. Departure procedure is on a SID. Noise abatement procedures are not required, and whether or not we have any concerns, and I don't think we have any. None that I can think of anyway. So we're good on that. So what we need to do is, let me zoom back down here on my Flight Sim Commander. Okay, So at 9 minutes, which is about 1 minute from now, we're going to play that departure brief, and we can do it one of two ways. We can click on that play function right here. We can just click play and it'll play it, or we can unmute and say, are you ready for the departure brief? If we do that, we must finish it up by saying any questions, but if we just click play, he'll do it for us. So it's already at 9 minutes. Let's do that.
Are you ready for the departure brief?
Go ahead.
Okay, it's going to be a standard pushback and start off from the gate. Taxi route will be assigned by ATC. It'll be a left seat takeoff using rated thrust, planning a 5x5 takeoff. Anti-ice will be off. In the event of a malfunction prior to V1, I will either call reject or continue. Standard low-speed reject procedures below 80 knots. Between 80 knots and V1, I will only conduct a high-speed reject in the case of an engine fire or failure, predictive wind shear warning, or if there's any condition that makes the aircraft unable or unsafe to take into the air. I will simultaneously close the thrust levers, disconnect the auto throttle, apply maximum manual braking or verify the operation of the RTO auto brake, apply maximum reverse thrust, verifying the extension of the speed brake and bring the aircraft to a complete stop and set the parking brake. We will then run the appropriate checklist and evaluate our options. If you can monitor my actions and make the standard reject takeoff calls, including any abnormalities that you observe before advising ATC. For V1, or if the call is to continue, I will continue the takeoff as per standard company procedures. We will climb to the minimum sector altitude and track clear of local terrain. We are under our maximum landing weight, so we are okay to make an immediate return. All going well, the departure routing will be via the ATC assigned SID, compliant with all published speed and altitude restrictions. No noise abatement procedures required. Flight directors are on, mine as master, yours as slave. Navigation radios are set. The NOTAMs and the aircraft defect log have been reviewed. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Not today.
Departure brief complete.
Okay, so that takes care of that, and then here in just a minute we should get our load sheet. Here it comes.
Here's the load sheet for you.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point we're supposed to review our load sheet, which of course we've already done. We know what our fuel is going to be and all of that, so we don't need to worry about actually reviewing it. But the idea is you review your load sheet, and then if there's any changes that need to be made to excuse me, to your V speeds or anything like that, then you would do it. APU's already running, so we're not going to have that next on the list. But basically you would update the FMC if required, and then once the CDU pre-flight is complete and the load sheet's been reviewed, which we've done, we would arm the auto throttle, which we already did, set V2 in the MCP, which is, what did we say, 144, right? Yep, 144. So we set V2 there, and then arm LNAV and VNAV as required. Now it says do not arm LNAV if expecting vectors or not departing on a SID. So we're going to arm the VNAV but not the LNAV because we know we're going to be vectors as soon as we take off, right? And then what we'll do is once we get airborne, the easiest way I found to do this is to just take and highlight ALRIT or whatever, however you say that, and replace it where vectors is, and then hit LNAV and you'll be on course from there. I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I do know if you go direct to, it deletes all the other waypoints, and I don't know why it does that in the Boeing, but it does. So another little cough in your face there, nothing like that, right? So let's see what else we got going here. I don't think there's anything else. Hold on, I'm muting my phone over here. Cargo doors will close at the 3-minute mark, which is coming up here pretty soon.
Welcome aboard our flight today.
There's our briefing kicking in, so I'm just going to shut up for a minute and let the crew do their thing.
Leaving a clear and easy access to center alleyway. This does include any purses, backpacks, briefcases, laptop computers, nothing in your lap, nothing hidden behind your legs. All items placed beneath the seat in front of you. Electronic devices, if you can make sure that they are in the airplane mode so you're no longer sending or receiving a wireless signal.
We were tested the TCAS. I haven't seen that anywhere in the list here. Excuse me. Well, we're testing it now.
TCAS test pass.
There's also the ground proximity warning test over here, which, remember, if you hold it long, it does a long thing. If you hold it short, it does a short thing. I'm not going to do it right now because we're almost ready to go. Cargo doors should be closing here right about now, and we can even check that on here if we want. We can go in here, go to menu, FS actions, and doors. and you'll see, so these are forward doors. Left forward entry door is open right now. Cargo doors, they're closed, right? So it says open door. That's what you do to it, right? If you click on this, it's going to open the door. If you click on this, it's going to close the door. I think you get the point. Probably covered that before once or twice. Okay, what else we got here? That should be it. We should be pretty much closing up now. I don't know if he removed chocks or not. We'll make sure during the before start procedure, which is coming up here in just a minute anyway. Let's see. Flight attendant should let us know the cabin's ready to go here shortly.
Hi, the passengers are seated.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, so the only thing left at this point is we hit the 0-minute mark here shortly and go to the before start procedure. I'm just going to fast forward to that. Before start procedure.
Check.
Okay, so he's doing his before start procedure and we need to do ours. So we need to select the takeoff page on the CDU. That's this guy right here, or the FMC for some of us. CDU just means control or computer or control display unit. I think it's control display unit. So we want the takeoff page, so click on route and then takeoff, and that's just so that we have our V speeds available to us there on short notice. And then flight deck windows closed and locked. We never opened them, so this one's closed and locked. This one's closed and locked, so we're good on that. We don't need a clearance to pressurize the hydraulics. And then takeoff trim, rudder, and aileron trim are all set, which means we're pretty much ready to push back and do the before start checklist, which he's ready for as well. So let's you know what, let's make sure he took off the chocks. Let's go to menu here real quick. FS actions, ground connections. Yeah, he removed the ground chocks. That's good. Jump back over here to the FMC and shrink that down, and we are ready for the before start checklist and the pushback. Let me see here. Okay, so I got a few things to do on this before start checklist. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the brakes off, I'm going to start the pushback, and then we'll do it. As you can see, I did start A cars, right? And that was hopefully to get it to turn to the right. Okay, let's kick this off. Before start checklist, please. I didn't move the jetway. That was awesome. Idiot. Before start checklist, please.
Before start checklist. Flight deck door closed and locked. MCP.
Set and checked.
Takeoff speeds.
V1 131, V rotate 133, V2 144. Set and checked.
CDU pre-flight.
Completed.
Rudder and aileron trim.
Free and 0. Set and checked.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Completed.
Anti-collision light on. Before start checklist complete.
Okay, so it pushed us back in the wrong direction, obviously. I didn't want that, but it is what it is. So let's stop right here. And let's drive on, shall we? Start sequence is 2, then 1.
Check.
Start number 2.
Starting 2.
So he's getting everything set. He's turning off the packs, all of that stuff to start number 2. And then what we need to do is we need to keep an eye on the come on brain function on the N2 down here. So when this hits 25, we need to introduce fuel. I forgot to do that last time I was flying this thing. So we'll just wait on that for a minute. And there she is at 25, starting up. Did put the parking brake on, right? Yep, we did. So once the engines are started up and everything, the first officer will start his before taxi procedure, and he'll complete everything up to and including the engine start switches, and then he'll wait for me to request the takeoff flaps.
Starter cutout.
Okay, let's go ahead and start number 1 here. Start engine 1.
Starting 1.
We now request your full attention as the flight
And then he'll wait for me to ask him to put flaps 5. Excuse me. And then he'll complete the remaining items in his flow. And for us, what do you need to do? We'll command him to set takeoff flaps and then do the flight controls check. So
there are several emergency exits on this aircraft. 2 forward, 2 aft, and 2 over each wing.
let's finish this up here.
Take a moment to locate the exit nearest you.
Gotta pay attention, don't I?
So
there's a lot going on at the last minute here.
Floor level lighting will guide you towards the exit. Doors can be opened by moving the handle in the direction of the arrow. Each door is equipped with an inflatable slide, which may also be attached and used as a life raft.
Get a drink here while we're waiting for
Oxygen and air pressures are always being monitored. In the event of a decompression, an oxygen mask will automatically appear in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth and secure the elastic band behind your head and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the
Okay, so the starter cut out. So he's already going into his before taxi procedure. We'll give him just a minute because he's got a few things he's got to do here. And he's going to be waiting for us to tell him. Let's see, he's going to go all the way up to the engine start switches, right? So these need to go to continuous. So yeah, see, those are on continuous now. He's waiting on us. Flaps 5.
Under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch.
Flight controls check.
Slip it over your head. Press the straps around your waist
Pull
and
left.
adjust to the front. To inflate the vest, pull firmly on the red
Center.
cord only when leaving the aircraft. If you need to
Full right.
refill the vest, blow into the mouthpiece.
Center.
Use the whistle and light to attract attention.
Full up.
Also, your seat bottom cushion can be used as a
Pull
flotation
down.
device. Pull the cushion from the seat, slip
Center.
your arm to the straps, and tuck the cushion to your chest. We remind you
Full
that
left.
this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering with,
Center.
disabling, or destroying the smoke detectors
Full
located
right.
in the lavatories is prohibited by law.
Center.
You will find this and
Flight
all
controls
other
check
safety
complete.
information in the card located in the seat pocket in front of you. We strongly suggest you read it before takeoff.
Okay, so he's going to finish his before taxi procedure now, and then we can do the before taxi checklist. And then once that's done, I'll pause for a minute so I can get my track IR on and all that good stuff. So the rest of his procedure includes, let me look on the list here. Transponder as required, hit recall. Looks like he already did that, so let's go ahead and take care of our before taxi checklist. Before taxi checklist, please.
Before taxi checklist, generators, on. Probe heat, on. Anti-ice, off. Isolation valve, auto. Engine start switches, continuous. Recall,
Checked.
checked. Auto brake, RTO, engine start levers,
Idle detent.
flight controls.
Checked.
Ground equipment,
Clear.
clear. Before taxi checklist complete.
Okay, so I think we're good on that. He's even got the taxi light on and all that good stuff. So everything's ready to rock and roll here, except that I don't have my track IR rocking and rolling. Now I had turned TCAS on. It looks like he turned it off. So we'll wait and see if he turns that back on when we taxi out. But I don't see anywhere in here where he does that. So I don't know. Maybe I missed something. But actually, I'm just going to turn it back on right now. Don't you dare turn off my TCAS again, son. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to pause for a minute, take just a second for you guys. I'm going to get my track IR on, and then we'll start our taxi and take care of our briefing and all that good stuff. Alright, everything's good to go now. We're ready to rock and roll, other than the, obviously we'll have the before takeoff checklist and all that stuff. Oh, excuse me. Goodness. Just kind of belched in your face there. That's a new one. Captain Mac Belch, huh? A little jump here as track IR comes on. Bam, there it is. And let's go ahead and brakes coming off and start taxiing out. Now, as a little side note, before we kick off with our taxi and departure briefing here, I cannot seem to get my HUD to work. That guy. I pull it down, but I can't. Nothing shows up on there. So if somebody knows if there's something I'm supposed to be doing to make that work, not that I really want to use it because it seems a little odd to me to use it in an aircraft like this, but I thought maybe some of you guys might want to see it. So of course that requires it to work in order to do that. So let me know if you know how to get the HUD to work. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take care of our taxi and departure briefings. Alright, taking a look at our taxi brief here then. You can see that there's a whole lot going on here. I didn't pull up the parking chart just because I didn't want to pull up another chart. I was kind of lazy about that. So I had to figure out where we're actually at. We're over here by the south. Well, I guess technically we're on the west ramp because we're over here. So we're right on the end here whatever terminal or jetway or concourse this is right here, which is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt because I'm having issues with my GSX, and so I'm just going to do like a manual pushback, and it's just going to be kind of weird. But anyway, based on the weather, which is 250, the wind 250 at 4 knots, we're going to be taking runway 23. So when we push back, we're going to come over here to Bravo taxiway, and we'll hang a left onto Mike, which is going to take us all the way up. We'll cross over 18 left, 36 right, all the way to the end here, and then hold short of runway 23. ATIS is on 121.150. Actually, sorry, that's for approach and all that good stuff. For departure, it's on 132.100. These are all sideways. I know it's hard to see. 118.0 for the tower. Yeah, that's us. Runway 23. And on it goes. Of course, we're not using those because, yeah, not using ATC. Listen, we'll continue to broach that subject until we find something suitable. In the meantime, let's take a look at the departure. This is not the departure that we had planned, okay? We planned for the hug departure, but for whatever reason, Navigraph Charts has like all these different departures in there, but they didn't have the departure that we're flying, which makes absolutely zero sense to me. Why do they have some of them, not the rest? And I didn't want to go. I could have gone and grabbed it from what's it called, AirNav. You can go and you can get charts from there. You can get there through SkyVector as well. You can find the charts. But I didn't want to do that because it's a different style of chart, and I kind of don't like when I use two different styles of charts within the same video. Now, eventually, for those of you who do not know, Navigraph is going to the Jeppesen style charts. They're going away from the Lido charts, which is really a shame in my opinion because I like these Lido charts a lot better. I know some of you don't, but I do. But anyway, so we're going to make use of the RNAV SID for Lils 9. Even though we're not coming out here to Lils, we can make use of the SID because everything is just vectors on departure, right? So we're going to be taking runway 23, which is the runway starting here and running this way, so heading 235 degrees. So we're going to climb out on that heading until we get at or above 1,260 feet, and then we'll turn on course from there. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Our departure frequency is going to be on 124.0, and I think that's pretty much it. So there's your taxi and departure briefing. That's probably the easiest one we've ever had. Confirm cleared to cross runway 18 left.
Affirm. Cleared to cross.
Clear left.
Clear right.
Approaching 18 left.
Before takeoff checklist, please.
Before takeoff checklist. Flaps.
Flaps 5. Green light. Flaps 5. Green light.
Stabilizer trim.
4.6 units.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Runway entry procedure.
Check. Cabin crew, take your seats.
Clear left.
Clear right.
Approaching.
Ready to go.
23. On runway 23.
Okay, as you can see, we're all lined up here. Let's just double check. He's got our landing lights on. All of that stuff is good to go. Let me turn track off for just a second. So everything's ready to go there. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. There's obviously a few more commands we need to go through. So once we're ready to roll, we're going to speak takeoff because we don't need ATC clearance. We'll advance the thrust levers up to about 40%. Once the engine's stabilized, we'll hit toga, and then we'll let him know. We'll say N1 toga. And then when he calls out 80 knots, we need to let him know checked, and then he'll tell us when to rotate, and then positive rate of climb. When he says positive rate of climb, that's when the gear comes up. And then from there, hopefully we don't need to do rejected takeoff. And then it'll just be bringing the flaps up as we go and all that stuff. Now, weather radar needs to be on. That was part of our procedure, our runway entry procedure. So weather radar is this one. It was already on, so we're good to go there. I don't think it works in this. If it does, somebody let me know. I think somebody already told me, but I don't remember. So, and then traffic on nav display. It says TA only, so we want to click traffic on here. I turned the transponder, not the transponder, but the come on, man, my brain doesn't want to function. TCAS, there we go. I turned the TCAS off because it does say that he's supposed to turn it on in the before takeoff or runway entry procedure, which he did. So good to go on that. So we're ready to rock and roll. So what do you say we carry on here, because otherwise we're going to be here all day, right? So little jump track hour coming on. Bam, there it is. Okay. Oh, we need to unmute that, right? Takeoff.
Check.
Here's our 40%. Let him stabilize. N1 toga.
Check. Thrust set.
80 knots.
80 knots.
Check.
V1.
Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
Positive rate.
So remember, it's 1,260 feet we're looking for, which we're almost there already.
Gear up.
Okay, let's go ahead and change this real quick. Execute that, keeping an eye on our flight director there. Okay. That speed's dropping off. We got a little quick there, didn't we, on our climb? There we go. Turn into it. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Flaps up.
Flaps up.
Obviously, we're still hand flying here. Check. Go ahead and get the autopilot on. Track hour coming off. Little jump here. There we go. Okay, in our climb mode, we've already got LNAV and VNAV engaged, so those are good to go there. Flaps are already up, so we're good on that. Let's see, he should be doing his after takeoff procedure. I forget what he said. Okay.
Check.
He was asking if he could release the cabin crew, which he's just done. So let's have him do the after takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist, please.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds, on, packs, auto, landing gear, up and off, flaps, up, no lights. After takeoff checklist complete.
Okay, so that's the after takeoff checklist. It's kind of hard to hear him with the engines, isn't it? I thought I turned the engine sound down enough, but apparently not.
Happy to release the cabin crew.
Okay.
Check.
He just asked me again to release the cabin crew, so I don't know. So the autopilot's on, VNAV's good, LNAV's good. He's going to ask me about releasing the passengers. And then that'll be it. I don't think I'm going to wait for him on that. So we've done all of our climb stuff. We're good to go. Just wait until we get up to cruise altitude. And you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. You guessed it. It's time for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alright, it's going to be the Annie 3 arrival into Miami today, and we're going to transition onto it at TRV, which is the Treasure VOR, and that's this guy right down here. Somebody was saying, you know, I need to put the airplane back on here again, or highlight my pointer or something so you can see it better. I'm looking into a couple options for that. It looks like the best options, unfortunately, you have to pay for, so I don't know, we'll see. You know, money's always an issue. But anyway, TRV right here, it's this box, and then this is also TRV, but this is talking about the hold. So if you're using TRV as a hold point, this is how you would hold at TRV. But we're going to enter on to the arrival here at TRV, and we're going to continue on the 167 degree radial down here to Ford. And it says expect flight level 240. That's of course if we're using ATC, we may or may not be around 240 when we get to that point. And then continue there at 163 degrees. Excuse me, down to PBI, which is the West Palm Beach VOR, and then from there hanging right to 174 degrees. And then Annie continues on. There's another arrival over here coming in from, this is the, I don't know what you call that, Snesbeck Annie 3. It's part of the same arrival, but it's coming from a different transition point. There's the word I'm looking for, transition point. But anyway, continuing on Annie 3 at 174 degrees down to Highly, whatever you want to call it, hang a right to 198 degrees down to Canis. You get the number 2 here. It tells us to expect radar vectors to final approach after Canis. And so you see here, you got the little arrows here that tells us we're going on to vectors at that point anyway. So where we go from there is really going to depend on what approach we're doing. And as I'm recording this, of course, in advance, I don't know what the weather is going to be for our approach. So while we're at cruise altitude, at some point I'll pull the arrival weather and then I'll brief the approach there. And so you'll be having the approach brief here in just a minute, but I'm not sure which approach we're taking quite yet, so can't tell you right now. ATIS is on 119.150, approach on 124.850, and I don't think there's really anything else we have to cover here. There is a lot of military activity off to our right here as we come in. Obviously, this is a flight sim, so it's not really a factor, but real world, that's something they obviously have to keep in mind. And that's pretty much the gist of it. It does have a note here for Annie as well. It says if you're landing east, expect 13,280 knots. If you're landing west, expect 11,250 knots. So we'll kind of try to keep that in mind as we roll in there, depending on which approach we're actually going to take. Airport elevation is 9 feet, so that should be nice and fun. Transition altitude at 18,000, which is standard throughout the United States. There's our arrival briefing. Hope it made a little bit of sense. Alrighty, we're about 120 miles from our top of descent. If you just glance down here, you can see the top of descent, 119 nautical miles. There's a few things we need to do to get prepared for our descent. We're going to have to take care of our descent procedure, which we'll do here in just a moment, and then we're going to go through the FS2Crew approach brief, which is this one here. And then once that's done, depending on where we're at, we may do the descent checklist first and then go into my approach brief, which is the chart, or we'll go ahead and do my approach brief and then do the descent checklist. It's just going to depend on how much time we have. So let's go ahead and let's see here. Let's start setting up for the descent.
Check.
So what he's going to be doing is he's going to check recall. He's going to select VREF, which should be the flaps 30 VREF, and we'll double check that when we get closer. Anyway, we need to set the minimums, which is going to be on baro. There's him hitting recall, and it's going to be 51 feet for the baro, however you want to say it. Baro. So there we go, 51, and what else? We need to select approach back course on the standby IFSD, which is actually, let me zoom it in here. So if you come down here, there is no back course on this one. So typically there's like a little, what do you call it? There's like a little knob on it. This one's different for some reason. So we're just going to hit the approach. That's fine. I don't think you can... Oh, there's back course. So approach back course. So click that button twice on this particular ISFD and then you're good to go for that. Let's see. Verify or set the transition level on the FMC's descent forecast page. So it should be 18,000 here. So if we go here to descent and then forecast... transition level is 18,000, so we're going to go on that. We haven't put in our approach yet, so let's do that real quick. So departure, arrival, we've already selected our arrival, and then our approach is going to be the ILS runway 30. So that's going to be this one here. And the transition, I don't know if they're going to have, yeah, they don't have what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for Shan. So, and you'll see why here in a minute. So let's just execute what we have, go to the legs page. And then it's going to go VKZ, and you know what, let's take a look over here while we're at it. Go to the plan page, zoom that down just a little bit. So it goes highly, Canes, and then you can see right there. So we're actually coming in from out here, and it's missing Shan, which is SHANN. So let's put that in. You guys will see all this during the approach brief. So SHANN. We want that here, okay, and then I think we need to get rid of VKZ because otherwise see what we're doing there. So if I take Shan and I put it where VKZ is, take old and put it in the empty space there and then execute that. Now if we step down, see we go to Canes, and then from Canes to Shan, it's still a pretty sharp turn. Certainly more doable, but I think what I'd like to do is, let me think for a second here, 304, 60 degrees would be 4 degrees, right? Yep. So 34 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a waypoint right here. So it's going to be from Shan, 034 degrees, 5 miles. I'm making a custom waypoint out here. So I want it from Shan, and I want it to go before Shan, so I'm going to put it right here. So you type in the waypoint or just use the line select key. Your heading, okay, where I want it from that waypoint, and the distance. And then when I click here, you see that created this guy right out here. See it out there? I'll pop it up for you. No, come here. I'm Doc. See, so from Shan, 34 degrees is out here, and then if I take Shan and I put it right there, you can see that'll connect them, and that'll lighten that turn for us a little bit. So I'm definitely going to use that. It'll make it a lot easier on the approach. That gives us 5 miles here, so that's fantastic. I like that. So we're going to go there, put that back on the map page, and how far are we now from top of descent? Getting pretty close. So, descent procedure's done. We're not going to do the descent checklist yet. Instead, we're going to do the approach briefing from FS2Crew. So let's go ahead and take care of that.
Are you ready for the approach brief? Okay. The arrival routing will be via the ATC assigned star, complying with all published speed and altitude restrictions. For an ILS approach, planning a flaps 30 landing, VREP is 140. Final approach fixed altitude is 1600 feet. Decision altitude is 51 feet. Missed approach altitude is 2000 feet. Taxi route in will be assigned by ATC. We'll be arriving at a gate. Descent speeds and navigation radios are set. Airport modes have been reviewed. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Not today. Approach brief complete.
Okay, so the decision altitude was my fault. I put it in as 51 feet. I'm sure I know I have that wrong. I absolutely have that wrong. It's not 51 feet. Decision altitude should be like 200 feet, right? So my bad there. We all make mistakes. It is what it is. So let's see. We're good with that. Let's close that out. How much time we got here? 79 nautical miles. And let's go ahead and let's take care of. My brain doesn't want to work. Don't mind me. Let's go ahead and let's take care of my my approach brief. I'm calling it my approach brief. Let's do the approach chart briefing. Alright, a quick look at our approach here. It's going to be the ILS 30 approach. The frequency is 111.70. We're going to swing all the way down here to Shan, which is our initial fix. Swing it around to 304 degrees down to Old, or Oldie maybe, Bird or Birdie, whatever, Peacock, and then on in from there. Pretty straightforward actually. Let's take a look at the profile view here. We're looking at 2,411 meters of runway, more than enough to work with, but keep in mind that we've got 287 meters of offset or displaced threshold. Displaced is the right word, not offset. Don't mind me, I'm an idiot. 3-degree glide slope, pretty standard. Pappy lights on the left-hand side. There's no slope to the runway, not that it would matter because, yeah, we're still good old-fashioned FSX. Coming in out here, when we get to Oldie, we want to be at 3,000 feet. That's our descent point. Starting down from there to Bird at 1,600 and Peacock, and then on down to the runway or our missed approach point. If we have to fly a missed approach, it's continue at 304 degrees. So okay, don't mind me. Until we reach 800 feet, make a right-hand turn to 310 degrees, intercept the 335 degree radial from the DHP VOR to Barbara, and climb to 2,000 feet. A whole lot going on there. What's that look like? Well, we'll go back up here. Continue out until you hit 800 feet. Start making a right-hand turn to 310 degrees. Then we intercept this radio right here out to Barbara, and then we would hold there until otherwise instructed by ATC. Of course, we're not going to be doing that because, well, we're not using ATC in case you haven't been paying attention. And that's fine, but we will fly the missed approach if we need to. So it is 2,000 feet, so what we'll probably do is climb up to 2,000 feet, start out this way, and then we'd swing around and just come back and do the approach. So that's kind of how we do it. So ATIS is going to be on 119.150. Tower, let's see, we're coming in from the 090 to 269 degree. That's us down here, so no, not really, actually. kind of turned around here. So we're heading 304 degrees, so I guess we would use this frequency for the tower, 118.30, and then ground on 127.50. And now that we've bumbled our way through that entire process, what do you say we go fly? Descent checklist, please.
Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude is 0. Feet, recall, checked. Auto brake, level 2. Landing data.
Set and checked.
Approach briefing.
Completed.
Descent checklist complete.
Alright, as you can see, we're getting really close. We're about 20 nautical miles from top of descent here. So I'm going to go ahead and press on here, and we've taken care of our arrival and approach briefings. Everything's good to go, and we're rocking and rolling as far as our FS2Crew is concerned. So we're going to keep trucking on here, and I will see you guys when we get ready to take care of that approach checklist, which is going to be a little bit yet, but a couple seconds for you. Approach checklist, please.
Altimeters.
3001 set.
3001 set. Approach checklist complete.
Alright guys, as you can see, we're getting close to our approach here. We've taken care of our approach checklist. We'll start going through our flap settings here pretty soon, and then our landing checklist once we get close. So basically, I'm going to do what I normally do. I'll talk when I feel like talking, because you all know how much I like to talk. And I'll just edit out all the extra crap. So you might see some little jumps here as we jump ahead in our approach, but overall it should be pretty straightforward.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their upright position. Make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened, and all carry-on luggage is stowed underneath the seat in front of you or an overhead bin. Please turn off all electronic devices until we are safely parked at the gate. Thank you.
Alright, so passengers should be getting their act together in the back. I think everything's looking pretty good. We already got our flaps set to 1. We're looking pretty good on everything here. Let's see, coming up here, so again, we'll have to go through the flap settings, like I said. If we transition to visual, which we probably will, we'll just speak the word visual. We'll say visual, and that'll change the approach type. Then we can have them cancel the barrels or reset them. And we can also have them cycle the flight directors if we want. However, we're going to fly and intercept the localizer and the glide slope first. So when he tells us that the localizer is alive and the glide slope's alive, we want to let him know by saying that we understand that by saying check. And then once we hit the glide slope, we're supposed to go gear down in flaps 15. So let's see if we can do this without messing it up, huh? Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Okay, so he's already given us that the glide slope is alive. So we're just going to press on here. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10. Localizer alive.
Check. Looking pretty good here so far. Gear down, flaps 15.
Gear down, flaps 15.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Landing checklist, please.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Double check that, please. Landing gear.
Hadn't armed it yet. Down.
Flaps.
30. Green light.
Landing checklist complete.
I hadn't I hadn't armed the spoilers yet. Oops. Okay, track IR coming on. A little jump here. Ooh, I forgot to hit this very important button. Approach. There she goes. So we're above glide slope right now because I'm an idiot. So let's just give the aircraft a second to establish itself here.
Cabin crew, take your seats.
Visual.
Check.
Set go around altitude. Set missed approach altitude.
Around thrust set. Missed approach altitude set.
Alright, let's see if I can get my act together here. Had to shrink a window, sorry. Just a little bit below the glide slope here. Try and bring her up. Looking a little better there. There we go. Auto throttle off here. I'm probably talking really quiet, huh? Okay. Okay. Looking good here. Reset the barrows.
Check.
Cycle the flight directors.
Recycling flight directors.
Approaching 30.
Stable.
Landing.
Check.
Approaching mid-flight slow.
Got it just a hair low.
50 minimums. 40, 30, 20, 10.
Floated her a little bit.
Speed brake up. Reversers normal.
That's the exit I wanted right here. Woo!
Check.
Okay to clean up?
Check.
Alright, he's obviously going to be taking care of cleaning everything up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your
And we're going to
seatbelt
start taxiing
fastened
in.
until the passenger is off with fasten seatbelt sign. This will indicate that we have parked at the gate and that it's safe for you to move about. Please check around your seat for any personal belongings you may have brought on board with you, and please use caution when opening the overhead bin, as heavy articles may have shifted during flight. We remind you to please wait until you are inside the terminal to use any electronic devices and smoke in the designated area. We'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip. We look forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. We hope
Start the APU.
Starting APU.
Alright, not too bad, huh guys? Not too bad at all. Let's see if I can get this thing over here to do what I want it to. Sorry that cut out for a second there. And of course I'm not watching where I'm going. There we go. Needed to zoom in a little bit. So on Flight Sim Commander here on my other screen, now I have, obviously I can zoom into the airport and I have the taxiways and all of that available to me. And so you can lay out a taxi route and then follow it. So I chose a gate already, and then I chose a taxi route to that gate. So I just wanted to make sure that I zoomed in so I could actually get to the right gate. Makes more sense, right? Okay, let's see what else we got going here while we're taxiing in. We already got that going. Yeah, there's actually nothing to do at the moment here, so I'm going to go ahead and taxi in, and then as we get up close there, we'll pick it up again.
Three minutes.
Check. Lights and doors.
Check. Cabin crew, disarm doors and cross-check. Doors disarmed. APU on the bus.
Check. I hate how those take that little turn right at the end there. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, come on. Why do they all do that? Doesn't make any sense. Oh well. Get her up there. Right about there looks good. Get that brake on. Get the brake on. Track hour coming off, little jump here. There it is. Took just a minute. Okay, so we already took care of turning off the landing, or not the landing lights, but the taxi lights. So that's what lights and doors is. He turns those off. Somebody told me in the comments, I don't remember who, I'll try to find it and pop it up here, but they told me that the 3 minutes is the engine cooldown period. So that's why he tells us 3 minutes, or not at 3 minutes yet, right? So what we're going to do next is we're going to go into our shutdown procedure, which he should probably already be doing, but for us, parking brake is set, engine start levers go to cutoff. 1 and 2. Excuse me, a little hiccup there. 1 and 2. Flight director's off, which he cycled them and turned them back on, so we're going to go there. So that's good. And what he should be doing is make sure the APU's on the buses. He already did that. Seatbelt signs off. Did he do that? There he goes. Now seatbelt signs just came off. So he's going through his right now. He's doing a shutdown procedure, and you can see here, this is telling me that that's what he's doing, is shutdown procedure right now. And then when he's done, it'll say shutdown checklist, and then we can go ahead and take care of that real quick. So we'll wait, and I'll show you it'll switch here to shutdown checklist once he's done going through his entire shutdown procedure. So it takes just a minute for him. He's got a bunch of different things to do, which is, it makes sense. We've only got a couple things to do. He's got all the rest. We need to give him a name. We need a name for our first officer. Anybody got any name suggestions? There's main door opening. So there you go. You see it switched to shutdown checklist. We're still muted, so let's get that out of the way. And let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. Shutdown checklist, please. Shutdown checklist, please.
Shutdown checklist.
There we
Fuel
go.
pumps, off. Probe heat, off. Hydraulic panel, set. Flaps.
Up.
Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Weather radar.
Off.
Off. Shutdown checklist complete.
Alright, so that takes care of that. And the only thing left to do, secure the aircraft, please.
Check.
So he's going to go through his flow here. Again, just waiting for him to finish that up, and I've got the little indicator over here telling me what he's doing. So while he's doing that, let's pop up ACARS right here. Let's end the flight, file the PIREP. Good to go. Close that out. Bam, just like that. And he's ready to go. So, secure checklist.
Secure checklist. IRSs, off. Emergency exit lights, off. Window heat, off. Packs, off. Secure checklist complete.
And that's it. Now he did all of that on his own. There's nothing for me to do. So the aircraft isn't completely shut down. It's not cold and dark. We're still running off of the APU here, which is fine. And that's where you would be if you're getting ready for a quick turn. So that wraps it up for this flight. And here we are in beautiful Miami. So another great one here, folks. I really enjoyed it as always. Hey, look at that. I actually parked pretty good. I almost got right up to the line there. Not too bad for an amateur, eh? But no, another good flight. I enjoyed it very much. I know that you guys are really liking this NGX, so I'll be sure to make sure it's part of the vote going forward. Eventually, I'm sure you guys want to see the bigger aircraft too once we get to that point, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But in the meantime, really good stuff. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys like the FS2Crew. I'm getting more and more used to it, so I'm starting to enjoy it a lot more, and that's fantastic. I don't think there's really anything else we need to cover on this one. I thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch this video. I know that sometimes these get a little long and stuff, but you know what? It's a really good time. I really enjoy it, and I appreciate all of your support. We're up to 4,100 subscribers, I think it is. So if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button. I do appreciate every one of you. I truly do. I try to get in there and interact on the comments and stuff as well, so thank you all for taking the time to comment. Quick little reminder, don't forget down below there's a bunch of links in my video description section now. Those are what's called affiliate links, so I'm trying to link them to all stuff related to flight simulation, including my PC. So if you're in the market for something flight simulation related, a new Yoke or something like that, go and click on one of those links. If you click that link and decide to purchase that one, I actually get a small percentage of that. It's a great way you can support the channel. Another way you can support the channel, of course, is you can just watch those little ads that play at the beginning. That's always nice, or you can click on the little pop-up ads and see what the site has to offer. It's not spam or anything like that. So, you know, if you're in the mood, you can certainly support the channel that way as well. Don't forget to head on over and like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, and of course you can now follow us on Twitch at CaptainMac3588. Sooner or later we will get back to live streams, but in the meantime, let's just focus on getting some more videos out and having a good time. That's going to wrap it up for this one, folks. As always, don't you forget, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all, and have a fantastic day.